What's up, everybody? Straight ahead, it's election day, so we've got to look at some of the big races that people are deciding right now, and things are shaking up in the tropics, what the Gulf Coast has in store this week. You know what time it is. Sit tight. It's time for News 5 Now.
This is News 5 Now, streaming live to your neighborhood and around the world.
Hey, Internet family, it's Akivia McFarland here. Thank you so much for joining us for WKRG News 5 Now. We do this every day where we bring you the big stories that we're following. We let you in on your answers to the question of the day, and we see how you decided in our Facebook poll as well. You've got decisions for the Facebook poll, a lot of decisions being made today. It's election day, of course, so let's go ahead and get things started because we've got some big stories that we're following and we need to let you in on those right now. Number 5. Our first alert storm team is continuing to track Tropical Storm Rafael as it moves through the Caribbean. The storm is forecast to move into the Gulf of Mexico tomorrow night as a hurricane. There is a lot of uncertainty in the track of the storm due to high wind shear and complex steering patterns. We will continue to see shifts in the track over the next few days. The storm is expected to weaken through the end of the week, but we could still see some local impacts, so be prepared. Those impacts could include increased winds, rainfall, high surf, and coastal flooding. We're on the Gulf Coast. You always have to be prepared. It's not over until it's over when it comes to hurricane season. Number 4, it's election day and WKRG is your local election headquarters. Major decisions are being made in Northwest Florida today. Incumbent Northwest Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is hoping for a 5th term. Gaetz has represented the 1st congressional district since 2017. His Democratic challenger is Gay Vallimont. Also in Florida, Republican Senator Rick Scott is seeking a 2nd term in office. He faces former Congresswoman Debbie Murkisell Powell from the Miami area. Scott has a strong financial advantage and is considered to be a favorite in this race. Number 3, voters in Alabama's newly redrawn 1st and 2nd congressional districts are choosing who will speak for them in the House of Representatives. In District 1, Democrat Tom Holmes is up against incumbent Republican Barry Moore for the congressional seat. Moore currently represents the 2nd congressional district, but was moved into the 1st following redistricting. The winner of the District 1 seat will be the voice of the people in areas including Mobile County, all of Baldwin County, and includes most of the southern wiregrass. Number 2, voters in the 2nd congressional district are choosing between 2 first-time candidates. Republican Caroline Dobson is up against Democrat Shamari Figures in this race. The 2nd district runs from the Mississippi border through the southern Black Belt to the Georgia line. The 2 congressional districts were redrawn in order to create a majority Black district and a near majority Black district. And of course, number 1, I bet you can guess what we're going to be talking about here. We are closely watching the presidential race and specifically following former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Voters are deciding whether to send Republican Donald Trump back to the White House or to elevate Democrat Kamala Harris to the Oval Office. Voters say the economy and immigration are their top issues of concern. This election is being considered one of the nation's most historic presidential races of all time. Now, if you haven't cast your ballot, there is still time. The polls are closing in just about an hour and a half at 7 o'clock. As long as you're there in line by that time, you can still cast your vote. Just be in line by 7 o'clock. To find your polling location, if you're in Alabama, go to the Alabama Secretary of State website. For my Florida friends, if you haven't voted already, the Florida Division of Elections website is where you can find your polling location. And if you're tuning in from Mississippi, you can check out the My Election tab on the Mississippi Secretary of State website. So there you go. That's a look at our big stories of the day. And really, it's all about the election. The election is the big story of the day. But now we're going to give you just a little bit of a break and go ahead and check out our question of the day and share your answers. The question is, what is your dream location for a home? It's a pretty pretty good question. So let's go ahead and see where you guys would want to live. Maybe I should scoot the right way so I'm not scooting out of the frame. Okay. All right. So Melvin Johnson says Bora Bora is where he'd like to be. We've got East Tennessee. We've got a vote for on the banks of Pensacola Bay and Gulf Breeze. But he already lives in Gulf Breeze, Jer Haynes, so he can get to Pensacola Bay pretty easily from that spot. All right. Emily Allison said wooded acreage, would she would clear some of that out and not deal with any neighbors and just kind of be out in the middle of nowhere, no homeowners association, and just kind of have some peace and quiet. And I don't blame you. A nice plot of land is always nice. And, having a nice plot of land is nice because the land is, there's not more of it's not being made. So you want to go ahead and get the land while you can. All right. So Debbie Birch says on a beautiful lake, not crowded in Tennessee. Okay. Lake life there. And we've also got a vote for Linda says she would like to just stay right where she is. She loves being in Fairhope. Fairhope is a gorgeous, gorgeous place, so I can see why you feel that way. Let's see, what else do you guys say? That's interesting. Mark Trawick says Arkansas out in the middle of nowhere, also for that isolation effect, wants to be away from everyone. And then we've got Linda Dooley. She says Hawaii. She lived there for 13 years. And that was a good chapter in her life. So that's very cool. I have a family member who lives in Hawaii right now, and I hope she is enjoying that. All right. Greg Powers says my island in the Caribbean. Marion Dorgan wants to be in Maryville, Tennessee. We've got a vote for Gatlinburg. All right. So you guys have a lot of really, nice places in mind to put your dream home. I hope you get there. Hope you get to live out that dream one of these days. But all right, so now it's time for us to switch gears and get over into that Facebook poll. As we keep emphasizing, come on guys, it's election day. Everything is about the election today. So last night we asked you, who do you think is going to win the presidential election? The really big question of the day. And guess what? We had nearly 3,000 votes by 5 p.m. today. 73% of you say Donald Trump is going to win. 27 of you say Kamala Harris is going to take it home to the Oval Office. So we will see. Of course, we're going to be keeping up with the election all evening long with those results. So stick here and we'll make sure that, we're all staying tuned in to what's going on. So what's next? We're going to have you head over to our Facebook page, and instead of answering a poll and a question of the day like we normally have you do, we want to give you some extra time to go out and vote if you have not done so already. Once again, in case you missed it, polls close at 7 o'clock tonight, not 11, 7 o'clock tonight. As long as you're in line by 7, you will be allowed to cast your vote. So you can join us tomorrow at 5:30. We'll have our normal top 5 stories, and then we'll give you a new poll and a question of the day, and then things will be business as usual from that point on. So what is next? In the meantime, go ahead and turn on your TVs and stay tuned on WKRG, your local election headquarters. Here's a heads up for you. We're not having a 6 p.m. newscast tonight, but we will have some cut-ins with election coverage twice an hour leading up to WKRG News 5 at 10. You do not want to miss that. You can catch up on your news tonight as well on WKRG News 5 on Gulf Coast CW. That's channel 55.1 if that's where you like to tune in. So guys, as always, thank you so much for joining us for WKRG News 5 Now. We'll catch you next time.